Green Lantern Corps, issue 6, legacy number 109, Morgan Hampton and Jeremy Adams writing, with AMANCAY NAHUELPAN on the art. So this is continuing all the stuff we've been doing, and like a lot of these previous issues, it kind of like pivots over to two other characters and gives them both a story here. So there's an A plot and a B plot. There's a little bit of stuff with Kelly and Helly at the start, just kind of addressing, you know, that inner mind stuff from last issue, and just sort of reminding us of it first of all, but also sort of just showing that Helly is concerned about it and is trying to prod her. But the main two stories here is that Sinestro is tasked via the boss, Jessica Cruz, who tells him to go back to New Corrigar and find the remains of the yellow power battery to get any of the materials that he can salvage, because they're still like low in those to make the new ones. So he's like, sure, I'll go do that. Meanwhile, Joe comes over to Jessica and says that Jessica's kind of turning into a hermit again, just in her Green Lantern office instead of her house. So maybe she's fallen into some bad habits, so she should come with her to deal with this other problem that's cropped up. So Jessica gets a little bit, you know, pissed about the insinuation, but ultimately agrees to come with. So our two plots are these two pairs of characters. So Sinestro, who's quickly joined by, I'm going to call her Vex, because Vexaru is hard to keep saying. So yeah, yes, Vex, the Tamaranian who became Green Lantern back in issue 1 of this series. 1? Yeah, I think it's 1. So she's like, hey, can I accompany you on the assignment? And he's like, you know what? I applaud you for seeking out the smartest Green Lantern to train you. That's good thinking, cadet. Off we go. So they go off to do that. Meanwhile, Joe and Jessica have basically found Mogo, right? They don't necessarily know that when they're going up to like investigate, but very quickly, it's like the first page when they get there. Oh shit, this is Mogo. And it's hard. There's like fissures and like cracks all over it, lava spewing up. There's like green constructs just kind of coming out and attacking anything that gets close. So it's kind of, you know, it's kind of suggesting that Mogo's in a lot of pain and is scared and frantic and doesn't really know, you know, what it's doing. I'm saying it because I don't even know what pronoun Mogo uses.
Yeah, because even then it's just Mogo, right? Even in the original story, Mogo doesn't socialize.
Yes.
They don't really specify. So yeah.
But anyway.
Mogo is Mogo.
Yeah, so they get close, and this whole story is kind of about, one, them fighting off some constructs that Mogo makes, but the main thing is that basically Joe brought Jess here with the idea that Jess, because she has some experience being scared and having to, you know, gain some confidence and some self-power and control, that she would be able to speak to Mogo, and also this idea that she won't realize that she's kind of like, you know, going into some of her own problems again until she recognizes that someone else is doing the same thing. And basically she recognizes that Mogo is basically cutting itself off from the galaxy because it's, you know, it's scared because everything that happened when it got rammed into Thanagar back in the previous big story. So it's I think it's a nice little bit for Jess, because I've enjoyed her being like around as a constant presence, but she's not really had a story in any of these issues. And I do still really appreciate that they're rotating through the various characters. And, you know, we just had a couple issues there where it was like Baz and Kelly in one story, and who was the other story? Was it Guy? Was the other story last time? I can't remember. But
yeah, it was Guy and that lion-looking guy.
That's right.
The lion-looking one.
Yeah, and then this time it's Jess and Joe, and it's Sinestro and our new character. So
Vex.
Yeah, so like, I really dig how it's like going around these different things. So I like that Jess gets a little bit of a spotlight here. Nice little bit of character for her to pump her up before we get to her big crossover that's coming. The Sinestro stuff on New Corrigar takes a bit of a spin, because he's expecting to find like a ruined wasteland, and turns out everything's booming. Like the cities have been built back up, and it's all because of his son and also Zod's kid who are behind all this.
The art makes Zod's kid look like Chucky with a goth haircut.
He does a bit, actually.
I can't unsee it now. Like, yeah, I didn't hate this as much as I thought. When I saw these two little kids,
oh sure,
I went, oh my god. But through what they were saying and where the story goes, I was like, turns out maybe the kids are all right.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried at first as well, because I'm like, I don't know if I care about these two, given that my only exposure to them was like the first part or two of like when they had the the story with the Super Sons.
Yep.
Or not even with the Super Sons, but they were like the anti-Super Sons. It doesn't matter.
They were the Sinister Sons.
That's right, yeah, the Sinister Sons.
Yeah.
So I will say, Sinestro's son, I don't know how I feel about his weird scarf thing that he's rocking. It's a little bit of a design choice, I'll say that much.
Yeah. And the glasses definitely makes him seem like a hipster. You know?
Oh, for sure. Definitely a hipster. Yeah. So yeah, it turns out they're using the nth metal that was in the power battery to help like power this entire city that they've got back up and running on Yukarigar. So they don't want Sinestro to take any of it. And he's proud of him, but he's like, hey, the universe is at threat if we don't build these power batteries, so we can't need to take it. Like, it's more important than even Karigar, which is kind of big coming from Sinestro, actually. But the Sinister Sons start, like, punch him and start fighting. So we get a little bit of action here. There's a good bit where Vex makes like a big sort of like Cyclops ogre looking creature, like in a construct, and slaps Zod back, to which Zod is like, I think I'm in love. And for the rest of the issue, he is crushing on this Tamaranian. He is like found a woman that is strong, and I'm like, dude, she's like, I mean, I don't even know how old she is, but she's at least 18, and you're 11.
League, bro. just the idea that Kryptonians being enraptured by Tamaranians, just a thing that I like, because there was in the Philip Kennedy Johnson Future Stories, that was happening around Future State. There's that one Tamaranian Kryptonian hybrid in there, you know. So I just like the idea of the species gelling with each other, you know, the different aliens. So the fact that he's got a crush on her is hilarious.
Yeah. So yeah, ultimately, basically, Sinestro's son suggests, hey, let's stop fighting. There's like an nth metal ship that crashed somewhere recently. That'll probably have a bunch of material, and Sinestro agrees to go take that instead, and says he's proud of him. It's a whole nice little bit. Also, just not to gloss over some of the fun art stuff in the Jessica and Joe bits, where there's like constructs of like a demon army coming after them from Mogo, and that's when Jess has to like talk Mogo down, and that's her big kind of section. And then there's a final page at the end, which is just kind of on its own, which is Starbreaker being like, aha, my entropy lantern is almost done. We're about to ruin the universe. Very good. So yeah, we're setting up for issue 25 of Green Lantern, where this big crossover is going to hit.
Those stones that he's got on his book look like the everlasting gobstoppers in the original Willy Wonka movie. So I just want to say they look quite tasty.
It's funny you went to that, because I went to, that's every color of kryptonite coming out of one bit. That's where my mind went.
Too. But no, they look like the everlasting gobstoppers. It always looked hard to eat. You know, as a kid, I'm like, well, no candy is that shaped like that. So, but yeah, the build up there, they got a lantern built, it looks like. They just don't maybe have the power sources quite for it yet, but they got the shell of it. Yeah,
they're close. So presumably they'll be starting off that arc with getting their power source or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nahuelpan's art, as per usual, has its moments. Has some nice, you know. I think it's like, it's very house style. I know it's a really lazy way of describing it, but it is very house style, and we use that a lot to describe art that's pretty solid, but not necessarily going above and beyond. You know, I will say occasionally there's like a face that just feels a little bit maybe off or a little bit too skewed or something like that. But you know, for the most part, like I have little to complain about. It's just it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, there's a lot of work went into this. At one point, Joe makes a construct of a big mech suit.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of detail. Yeah, there's a lot of detail in that mech suit, and like her in the center of it, fighting these big green constructs that the Mogo is making. So, like, you know, a lot of efforts get in here. It's just, you know, it's not like out of this world art either. No pun intended. So, but no, pretty solid.
Yeah, I will say it looks the best with that panel or that page that has Jess on the left side, and we get her full body, and there's panels next to it. I will say that that's, I think, where Nahuelpan's art looks the best there. And some of the stuff on Thanagar too. I think a lot of the spacey looking things, his style lends itself there. So
I will say, I think
it's a decent book.
I think he draws the kids' faces really well. I think they're very expressive and they work. I do think his Sinestro is a little, I don't know, like his head almost feels like not tall enough or something, like, or he's went too far with like the whole, you know, the sides are bald, but he's got the pointy bit in the middle. I think he's put the bald parts too far back, and it looks a little bit weird.
His widow's peak is really peaking.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, his head looks almost too small for his body.
Yeah.
Times.
This is a minor quibble. It's not a big deal by any means. But no, I still love what this book is doing. I love that it's given us a chance to have all these characters rotating and everything's feeding into the greater Green Lantern mythos that we're doing right now. And it has, you know, decent art. So, no, I like this as a really good little companion book to Green Lantern. I think it's nice to get something for all these characters to get time to shine. All right, what are you giving Green Lantern Corps?
Let's give this a 7.5.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think if I liked the art a bit more, you know, I would dig it. Just that bit extra, but I think I agree with the 7.5. I think it's a solid issue, and we'll leave it there.